When you had that blizzard where you broke your neck, what was just, I mean, the pictures of that, the snows are incredibly high. Part of that's because the train was down in a little gully. But tell me about that experience. I don't remember ever you talking about that very much.
Well, this was something we wasn't supposed to be doing. A lot of times we done things we wasn't supposed to. But it's pheasant season up there in Nebraska, and I had an outlying crossing signal about 80 miles away, down a branch line, little old crooked branch line. And the lineman had trouble about 100 miles away down that same line, and we were good friends. And we decided we'd take his motor cars, it's fastest, and take our guns, and we'd go hunting. And the long railroad was awful good pheasant hunting. And we did that, and we got to Beatrice, Nebraska, which is about, 20 miles from where we live. And we had birds, and we gave them to the agent, which is a friend of ours. And because we had trouble, we had to go, and we went on up the line. And we got up to my crossing signal in Pawnee City, Nebraska. And I took care of the maintenance I was supposed to take care of, and it was getting late. And his trouble was on fire, so we went on. And his trouble wound up about 100 miles from home. And we got that taken care of, and it was dark. Well, neither one of us had expected to be out at night. We didn't have a light on the car, and neither one of us had any money to stay in a hotel. So we decided we'll just go home. And snow was about a foot deep all over everything, but trains had run, so the track was clear. And this is all not legal. And we started down home, and it was a little town up there. Wasn't a town or nothing anymore, but it used to be a sighting there by Mayberry, Nebraska. And it was down in the valley. And we come on down through that lane, and his motor car, it makes at least 50 mile an hour, maybe 55. And we come down over there really fast. Now this rail is a little 56-pound rail, like model trains now. And went on through that little old Mayberry, and down there in the bottom, all at once that car jumped track. I had a baseball cap on, that's the day before homeless. And I come off the offside of that car, he was sitting in the seat driving it. And I went end over end down the railroad. Well, I knew I had to stay between tracks because it'd kill you if you hit that rail. And I did. But I don't know how many flip-flops I made, but I wound up on my feet. Dark, and I had my baseball cap on my head, but something was running down my face, and I sure had blood, but I didn't know what it was, couldn't see. So I hollered at him, and he didn't answer. And I gave him a good holler scream, and he didn't answer, but I could hear him cussing. And I went back looking for him, and he was out in the cornfield about 30 foot away at the track. That car jumped and flipped end over end and lit on him upside down out in the cornfield. Well, I lifted the car up and he come crawling out, better than a hornet. But he wasn't hurt. So he lit a match to see what was running down my face. It was snow. My baseball hat somewhere had got full of snow and still on my head. I must have unconsciously pulled it down. And it was melting running down my face. Neither one of us was hurt. So we drug that car back over to the tracks and put it on. It wasn't wheels. The wheels wouldn't turn because the axles was bent. So we put it back out in the right of way again, and we walked down the track till we come to the road, and we decided we'll cut across. The railroad had a big curve in it, and we were about a mile from this little old town. I forget the name of it. So we cut across and had to go across to run out of road. We had to go across the creek and the pasture, and we finally got to this town, and the pool hall was still open, and a few guys sitting in there. And we went in there and called that agent's home in Beatrice, so we gave the birds to, and we both knew him, and it's his hometown. So he come and got us and took us home. And the next day we loaded up the lineman's pickup, personal pickup, and we went out in the country and got that motor car. Took it back. Now I had a real good boss, supervisor. And I didn't ever keep any secrets from him. I told him what we'd done. And he said, well, just keep your mouth shut and order the parts. It should be all right. So we did. And the lineman did. And that car supervisor out of Harrington, Nebraska, he ordered 2 axles and bearings. he sent him and he wrote him a note. He said, "You grease that thing once in a while, you won't need axles." No one ever knew what happened. About a year or two later, I had a lot of trouble. The doctor, Darlene, was x-ray tech, and they x-rayed my neck, and he said it had been broken long about that time. Said I'd been some kind of an accident. I never told him what kind. But
Yes, I showed it to him, but he looked at it. Has he been in an accident? And I said yes. And he was. He
it didn't
rolled
hurt.
on that thing, and he says, "Well, he's broken. He's had a fracture up there."
He said, "Don't let anybody ever manipulate your neck." But in them days, the railroads are kind of mean. If you got hurt, you'd liable to get fired. Especially if you was doing something violating rules, and everything you done wrong was violating the rules. You couldn't work about violating the rule. But it was a fun job. A lot of interesting things happened.